apps. I tend to think that someone really, really going to dating apps to really find someone can be a little desperate too.
Hmm.
Building a whole profile instead of just walking outside. And I
Yeah.
understand that, and today it's very hard to just meet people organically outside. Your next best bet is to just have recommendations from people that you know and you trust. Definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also heard you say on that same episode, and something that I never thought of it this way, and I'm glad that I heard you explain it, because when you said it, I was like, that totally makes sense. Especially for women in the church, a lot of Christian women, they will pray for a husband, and
Hmm.
then their next step is to just kind of say, okay, God, if it's for me, you will make it happen. What's
Right.
for me is for me. I don't have to put myself out there, because it will come to me. All things will come to me. And you're saying that you don't believe in the idea of what's meant to happen will happen naturally, or that you can sit back on that idea and
Right.
say, oh, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yes, I think it's a trap thinking if you have no work behind that, right? I can't say to God, what's meant to be will be, my husband will find me, without putting myself in a position to be found. And I think that's where we're very much trapped when it comes to women that are avoiding appearing desperate by putting yourself out there, by putting yourself in a position to be found. We are solely dependent on a higher power. And while I believe in destiny and I believe in fate and I believe in God making all these things come to fruition, I think there's still an expectation by God to make sure that you're putting yourself in that position. And during the episode, I was talking about a particular friend who was a little nervous to make changes in her career and where she was living.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "No, I'm not going to do all that. I'm not going to change my career. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to this for a man. When God's got me, and when it happens, it happens." And I'm like, "Okay, girl." But in my mind, I'm just like, I think it's best to think about statistics and what can we do to increase our chances, right?
Okay.
I absolutely 1000% am happy that I got married at the age that I got married at, right? I always
Mm-hmm.
believe that what's meant to be will be. But I don't think that my husband would have found me if I was not at that wedding in 2017 and I had a mutual friend there, and it's just one of those positions in which fate can only do so much, right? We can't make magic happen in some days. For me, I've always pushed my friends, especially as Black women, our chances, marriage, the stats, we are the least married of any demographic of women. So I always believe that we kind of have to go a little bit harder and take that extra step when it comes to finding our life partner. And
Okay.
sometimes that is dependent on our location. Sometimes that depends, your guest mentioned it previously, on how we show up in the world, how we look, taking care of ourselves, being the best version of yourself so that you can put yourself in a position to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, they think to themselves, oh, it's pick me behavior, it's pick me behavior. But I just don't think that it is, because I think in some ways we challenge men to be the best versions of themselves, for them to be found, for them to be considered high interest in the dating pool. So I think we have to do the same thing as women.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. And I think
Yeah. I never understood what was wrong necessarily with having a pick me mentality. If it's something that you want, then why not put yourself in that position to win? Um, eh, the Bible teaches us that faith without works is dead, and even if you don't believe in the Bible, uh even just in life, if you aren't proactive about something that it is that you want, it you're never going to get it. You're just going to be on the hamster wheel. And I wholly believe in like how she was saying, in praying about what it is that you want and desire. And JR, there was a King's talk that we had did some weeks back, where there we had covered a guy that had a platform where it was like, to my future wife or some shit like that.
Yeah, you talking
And
about Dear Wifey podcast.
dear wifey pop, yeah. And a lot of guys was bashing. I know Clout was bashing him more so, but it was like, This man knows what he wants. He's putting out in the universe what it is that he wants. So that makes all the sense in the world. You know what I'm saying? You won't receive what you want unless you put it out there and you know what you want. So it's to not do that, I think, is counterproductive.
Go ahead, Miss Shan Monet. We haven't heard from you in a while.
So I just had so everything I agree with everything you said, Viz, but I think that I think when people say pick me, I think that there's like I think they say that only when um the person's not being rational, so to speak. Or a person is like, for example, let me give you an example. If I just say all these things, but then it's like it's not even. You're just one sided. Does that make sense? Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Am I not?
Oh no, I
You're
get what
trying
you're
to stay
saying.
favorable. You're trying to
You
Yeah,
said
no,
seem
what
I
now?
agree.
favorable. You're
So
trying
I don't
to
think that
make yourself seem favorable. That's
right when you're saying things that are like that doesn't even make any like girl it's giving it pick me behavior. Like everybody should have great qualities, right? You should always be the best version of yourself so you can be picked. But it's kind of like saying, oh, I'm gonna be this and this, and I don't care that he's a drug addict, he's got problems. It's like almost like
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
When it's
because he's
the
a
extreme.
victim to society. It's like, does that make sense? I don't know if I'm giving a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
example.
No, I
I
agree.
want
I
So
think
I
the
think
red
that
flag is
so when
the
people
extreme.
call people pick me's, it's normally because they can only see the issues from one side and not the other. It's no bad like you're trying to grow favor just by it's almost like you can't beat them then
Yeah.
join them. I don't know how else to explain it.
yeah, look, I do.
Um
I will say I do want to add this too. Is that I mean, even people that uh, show up as a pick me, so to speak, that's still a representative. What I've noticed is that even if people um, introduce themselves in that matter, it's only a matter of time before the true them still shows.
absolutely.
When you guys get into conflict, then that's when you
Right.
start looking at that person. It was like, who are you? It's not the person that I met. So if it's truly not in you, I don't think that it's going to stay throughout you, if that makes sense. And
this is
yeah, go ahead, Luis.
yeah. This is why I tell people, man, be who you are from the beginning. If you have to lie to get that person, you have to continue to lie in order to keep that person. If you have to fake it in order to keep that person or get that person, you have to keep faking it, man. Whatever poison or antidote you start with, you got to keep that thing up. Because the moment you stop and you let up, that person's looking at you like, what happened to the person that I met and I've been with for the last 4 or 6 months, right?
Man,
And
but
that's the
I stand firm on people seeing that beforehand, though. Like we see those red flags beforehand. You know what I'm saying? But it's the oh, I really like this person, so I'm gonna ignore it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's across the board. If somebody is creating a facade, they're wearing a mask as to where this is not who I'm truly am. At some point early on in that first 30 to 90 days, something is going to happen where it's going to be like, damn, this, okay, that didn't make sense. And it's up to that person in that moment where they're either going to recognize it or they're going to ignore it, you know what I'm saying, due to what it is that they feel as far as with their emotions.